Okay. Let's give it a few seconds here. I am going to jump over to YouTube, and I just want to make sure that the stream is starting. So let's go here, go on the channel, videos, and it says I'm live. Yes, I'll make sure to turn off the sound here. And of course, I have sound on phones. And let's go ahead and do here quality video. We're going to bring it down to 144 so we don't interfere. Sabaho, everybody. Sabaho. Welcome back to the channel. Today is, and I do need to look at this, obviously, is May 23rd. And I'll give it a few more seconds here for people to start showing in. It is May 23rd. This is Saturday Morning with Tech. I am your host, TK Bay, and I hope that we are live. I think YouTube did go ahead, went ahead and started for me, and I did wanted to double check, make sure that it was actually live. And it is episode 21. Today we're going to be welcome Tarek, welcome Ayuz, welcome a couple of people joined in. So it is episode 21. We're going to talk about a little bit of some of the stuff that obviously I posted earlier this week on the channel, but mostly just kind of some of the questions actually answering, for the most part, some of the questions I got on some of those videos. We posted 3 videos on the English channel and, of course, 2 videos on the Arabic channel, but unless you're following both, you probably didn't notice those. Also, last Saturday, although the quality of the stream was obviously the image quality, obviously we were having some streaming issues. And then Tech Synchronizer, hey, good morning, Sabaha, everybody. Even though we were having some problems with, technical problems with the stream where it was some stuttering, I'm hoping that this time there isn't an issue and that there is basically more of a nice kind of, I would say, quality. I did actually run a speed test. Also, actually kind of covering back of what we had with last week. During last week's stream, if you guys didn't have a chance, I basically had an opportunity to basically have an additional device that I wanted to give away, specifically to the viewers and the subscribers on the channel. So if you are on the channel, and obviously I didn't really publicize very heavily for it, I wanted to keep it specifically for the channel. And I wasn't like running any, Gary, good morning. Gary, the fireman's in here. And then, I wanted to basically keep it focused on the guys, obviously on the, guys and gals that are actually subscribed and, of course, follow the channel. So if you haven't had a chance to, and you maybe missed last week and we haven't had a chance to start, in a little bit, I'm going to be drawing a name for somebody from that video. Essentially, mostly what I asked for everybody for it to do is just like and comment. Just leave me a comment after the stream was over. Unfortunately, the way live streaming on YouTube goes is like whatever goes on during the live stream part of it, so the live stream chat part of it, unfortunately, it doesn't carry over to the actual video afterwards. So if you've left a comment during the live stream, although technically, yes, that is a comment on it, but the requirement was specifically to leave one after the live stream goes live. So if last time I checked, I think we had, if I'm not mistaken, about 50 comments. I want to double check here. And let me do first and foremost here. I'm going to disable vibration on this one. And I'm going to disable sound on this one, because I think at this point, we're going to basically just keep listening to audio from everybody in the, and it'll just keep notification. So last week's stream, Saturday Morning with Tech, we had 50 comments. So that's roughly about 50. So 1 in 50 if you left a comment on the video last week, or even if you leave a comment by the time I actually draw the winner's name, we'll obviously be able to see who it is. Indira, good morning. And Arsenal, yes. Hey, I'm doing okay. So Arsenal is asking, it's good to we could bring it over here. Arsenal is asking, good morning and how are you doing? I'm doing okay. Things are a little bit, I want to say this week things were a little bit better. I think overall, I think I got better at actually even posting videos. I felt a little bit more energized, and of course, I felt a little bit more. I think it was a better week. Let's put it that way. It felt like a better week. And I had an opportunity to basically post more videos that was more consistent. And the goal essentially is to just pick up and bring back more consistent videos. It's like basically 3 videos a week, as well as the live stream. So basically making them into 4. Good morning. Seeing everybody jumping in. East Coast, early afternoon. Hey, Marty. Yeah. So obviously this is, it's like 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so obviously 3 hours ahead. They're early in the afternoon here on the East Coast. And for California, it's in the, still technically mid-morning brunch time, if you want to have some brunch. Why do I enter a giveaway anyway? Even though I might do Tech Synchronizer, if you haven't had a chance to yet, the video is live, and I am going to be pulling the actual the winner in literally in maybe about 10 minutes or so. So if you have a chance to actually, and you haven't had a chance to do it before, go ahead, jump over to the video, leave a comment, and of course, make sure to hit that like button on that for us. And then that gets you the entry. And once I pull, as long as your comment is in there, by the time I pull, that's the deadline. Once we pull the winner, it's over. How's everything with you on your end? Good morning. Hey, Vikramit, I'm doing okay, and hope everybody's doing well as well. Let me know how things are going with you guys. Bob, and Bob as well is in the comments. Greg is in the comment as well, and of course, all the other normal viewers. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Matt Tyler is going to be jumping in a little bit later on. I think when he gets in, I want to wish him a happy birthday. Brian, hey man, Brian. Hi from London. So if I'm not mistaken, London time, it's more closer around dinner time. That's probably late in the afternoon, dinner time for you guys. But yeah, thank you for jumping in. Again, if you haven't had a chance to, and you did not get a chance to do that, just jump over to the video from last week, leave a comment and like. Make sure you get that entry as soon as we run the actual drawing. I think that will be basically the cutoff for that one. This week was actually a little bit of an interesting week for me. And I say that because I had an opportunity to get a device that I felt like I needed to be able to spend some time with. Obviously, you probably already heard about the actual phone. So this is the Oppo Find X2, the Pro version. This is Oppo's best of the best, the flagship of 2020. Even if they do obviously release other devices later on in the year, I think the Find X2 Pro will be basically the best version. I think there's also a 5G model of it. And the one that I was actually sent is a vegan leather. So this is the orange vegan leather, which apparently seems to be less of an available color if you're even trying to pick it up. And from what I understand, at least overall, as a device, it's something that I really felt like I missed out on, because I had a lot of time to spend with the OnePlus 8 Pro. And of course, I like that device. That device is actually one of my favorite devices of 2020. And I would recommend it for anybody that's considering to get a brand new, like the latest, best type of device in the US or even internationally. So getting that device, getting the Oppo Find X2 Pro was actually a very nice surprise. I found out about it, and it was actually shipped up. And it's actually been surprising. I used to think that the Find X2 Pro and the OnePlus 8 Pro were very similar. And they do have some things that they share as far as specifications, but there's a lot of differences between the two, even though there's a relationship in the background between obviously the OnePlus and Oppo's kind of background as far as hierarchy in the company. And of course, the fact that they both have a QHD 120 hertz display with similar basically panels, there actually is some enough differences between the two that I felt like I needed to share that with you guys today. So we'll talk a little bit about those. Of course, we're going to talk also about the V10 Pro, the View 10 from Honor. And this is going to be the giveaway, and we'll find out. We'll pick a winner. Hopefully, the winner is in the live stream, because the main thing, obviously, is once I pick the winner, I will be responding to their comment on the video, and they have basically 24 hours to respond. So if they're in the live stream, obviously, I'll ask you guys. You guys can jump in and respond back to me, and then we'll communicate via email to work out getting you that device. If I don't hear within 24 hours, guess what? I'll basically pull another person's name, and we'll keep going till we find somebody that gets to win it. That's the best way to look at it. Let's look real quick in the comments. Ayu's doing good. Thank you, man. Michael, hey, how you doing? Gregory, and of course, Brian, Tech, Bob, of course, and all the other guys hanging in. So we are good. Let's talk a little bit about the actual Oppo Find X2 Pro. Overall, we'll switch over to the camera. That'll work better. So here's the device. I'm going to put it on the side just for a little bit, just to kind of get the image here really nicely. Also, I forgot to mention, I did actually get a pair of the Soundcore. Basically, this is the Liberty Pro headphones, and I am very surprised at the quality of these headphones. I heard El Jefe reviews talk about them. I've heard a lot of people talk about them, even Juan Carlos. And I want to say, first and foremost, of course, you know what? I just realized I missed one. I want to say, here we are. Sabaho, Aditya and Neil, welcome back to the channel, and Eid Mubarak. Thank you very much. As you guys probably already are, if you're familiar with Ramadan, actually today is the last day of Ramadan. So I literally have basically few hours left for this year. So to everybody that celebrates it, Eid Mubarak. Thank you very much for the super chat for Aditya as well, and hanging out with us. And Aditya is actually in the European time zone, so he's even it's even later in the evening for you, I guess. But yeah, thank you for jumping in, of course, and Gary and everybody hanging out with us here. So yeah, the overall the impressions that I got with these headphones are actually very nice. The case itself is very unique, and it's actually addicting just to play with it. It doesn't pop open; it slides, so that has a really nice slide. USB-C charging, as well as I'm sorry for shaking the table. It is actually covered, so as long as if you're using it, you basically can open it up. But most of the time, you don't even see it. And of course, supports wireless charging at the bottom. And they're actually running for about $129. Really good. They're obviously very nice. There's like a nice little LED there. The headphones, the quality on the audio and the sound is actually really, really good. Charging directly in the case, and then when you're done, just put them back in, and they're actually pretty good. So working on a review for those. So far, pretty good as far as the impressions that I've had with them. So I figured I wanted to share with you guys that they are in the studio. But when it comes down to these two devices, I really always found that the comparison that a lot of people draw obviously is when it comes to the display. Both of these devices have they don't have an always on display, but essentially they both have basically similar aesthetics. Let's go ahead and open it up here, clear the notifications. I want to fill up everything. And you can see right there, Aditya's nicely right there. And let's go ahead and unlock the phone and let's swipe up. So you'll notice that both of the panels look very, very similar, because I think they're pretty much using the exact panel, but they're not tuned the exact same way. But they're, when I use the same wallpaper there, you can actually kind of almost think that they're basically made out of the same thing. So they're continuing each other and they look really good. Both running Android 10.0, of course, both running latest version of their operating system. Although I think this one is definitely just more of I think if you had to kind of consider the fact that both of them are really flagships of their own companies. So both Oppo and OnePlus are basically running these as their flagships. The differences, though, when we start talking about aesthetics, which a lot of people miss, is the fact that the OnePlus obviously have that little rocker option. That's something that is only unique to OnePlus. We'll put that one on the side. The camera setup on the back is definitely different. We have a quad camera setup on the back, wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. And that's something even on Oppo's flagship device does not happen. So they don't have a wireless charger. They don't have a reverse wireless charger. They went with the material here. That's the vegan leather that we have on the back, the moniker. And what they've opted for here, obviously, is a different tech as far as charging and basically getting the device to run at 100%. So Bob's asking is, what carrier do they use? They're GSM unlocked devices, so they will work with any carrier that supports GSM. Now, for 5G support, not all of the carriers are supported, so that's going to be different depending on the region that you're in. But as far as 4G, I think in the US at least, I was able to get 4G LTE on both of these, and I'm able to get 5G here in the US for the OnePlus 8 Pro. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think Matt, once we get Matt in the chat, I think he can confirm for me as well if the 8 Pro works on the 5G for him in the UK, as I think he just picked one up, and I'm not sure. I think he just I'm not sure if he has that in the house yet or not. So Arsenal, hey TK, did you get the new Sony Xperia? I can't say. I can't say. That's my answer. That's my answer. Yes, I will go with that I can't say, and we will all find out very soon. Let's put it that way. I think that's the best way to answer that question without getting into any trouble. Let's just say that. So yes, overall, both really nice. And then, of course, like as I mentioned to you guys, there's a battery capacity slight difference there. The battery capacity that you have here is the 4200 or roughly about 4300 milliamps, and this is around about 4500 milliamps. The difference, though, is that this is capped at 30 watts as far as the charging. So the Warp Charge 30T is the supported charger wired, and of course we have wireless charging that is also the wireless 30 watt charger, and that's one of the best ways to charge it, 0 to 100% in literally about an hour. Here we have a slightly smaller battery, literally about a couple of hundred milliamperes, but the battery can charge from 0 to 100 via the wired, as well as the included charger, in about 36 minutes. So there is a big difference in charging speed as far as the way the connectivity is done. Also, the battery cells that are here are actually two separate smaller batteries. And of course, on the right side here, what we have essentially is one big battery. So there's a big difference as far as also the way the tech inside of the phone. That's why I say when we look at these devices and we think that they are very similar, I would say probably more like they're brothers, but they're not necessarily identical brothers, right? They look kind of the same, but they have a lot of differences. And of course, just material wise, we talked last week about that IR camera that was built into the OnePlus 8 Pro. And of course, that's not even present here. I know. I cannot. I, I am going to plead the fifth on every single question that comes relating to that subject, my friend. I will. That's the best thing I can say. I will basically keep my mouth shut on that one. But focusing more on about what we have here, they both have stereo speakers. They both have Dolby Atmos, and I think that's some of the other cool things on it. Of course, when we start looking at even on the design, actually, if you look at it here on the top, this one has more of a flatter top, and this one has a slightly different design as well. The microphone placement obviously is not in the same spot. And of course, last but not least, is when we get into the actual software. Overall, software on both of these are running is basically Android 10 in the background, but again, ColorOS 2, OnePlus, and it depends on what your preference is. And what I wanted to show yesterday in my video, or the video that I reposted yesterday, by the way, is the way that the actually refresh rate. So I have them both set to QHD, both set to 120 hertz. Man, welcome. Hey, man, how you doing? That's right. Yeah, Greg. Yeah, I know, Greg. I know. You know how things are. You know how things are. But I wanted to kind of share with you guys real quick here is like you can see actually even just when you're swiping between the two, the refresh rate is just absolutely butter. Again, both running Android. So that's one thing that's different here is if you get a notification on the OnePlus, you can swipe them either way. But on the Oppo Find X2, you actually have to swipe to the left. If you try to swipe to the right, it doesn't go away. But yeah, both supporting Android 10.0 gestures, both supporting an app drawer, so you can definitely basically enjoy the way the refresh rate is, and they're both super fast. 12 gigs of RAM on both of these devices, 512 gigs of internal storage as opposed to the 256 I think that I have on this one, and so that's basically what it is. Price point as well, about $1,000 roughly, and about almost $1,300 here on the Find X2 Pro. So that's something to keep in mind. Quick question here from Surab. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Which mobile do you like in terms of performance and camera? I'm assuming you're talking about both of these guys. Right now, I'm in the, I would say, the honeymoon phase of the Oppo Find X2 Pro because I haven't had a chance to play with it before. I think from the initial impressions that I've had, I think they both are roughly about the same for me because they both charge very quickly. Both provide us obviously a great experience, and of course, hey man, happy birthday, man. Oh, really? Sony Xperia Mark East. I didn't say anything actually, Matt. I said no, I didn't say a word. Not one word came out of my mouth saying anything relating to that. People asked questions and I said I couldn't comment. That's all that happened. And I got to wipe that smile off my face. But yes, as far as both of these devices and talking as far as some of the sorry, let's double check real quick here. Is Oppo wireless OnePlus compatible? The Oppo Find X2 does not have wireless charging, so no support for wireless. At least this one. For some reason, I don't know why, but they chose not to have wireless charging on this device. So I've tried it many times. Not that I haven't been able to find the option for it, but yeah, no wireless charging not supported, and I'm not sure why, but keep in mind that OnePlus, even for the longest time, didn't really support wireless charging. OnePlus, I think for years, we've wanted them to have wireless charging. They have the space, they have the aesthetics overall. The devices became very big. I mean, last year with the 7 Pro, with the 7T, 7T Pro, they're roughly about the same size. They didn't really go that much smaller as far as their design wise. So the fact that we haven't had wireless charging has been mostly, I think, the way OnePlus answered it at CES Best. They haven't found the right way to give us the best experience and keeping the temperatures consistent, because they want to give you fast wireless charging, but they didn't want to just give it to you and then obviously just overheat the device because of the coil sitting in the background. So I plead the fifth. That's all I can say. Yeah, yes, thank you guys. Yes. So with that, I do want to stop and say happy birthday to you. So hope you guys can join me with this. I'm going to do a really bad rendition of this. And then since I'm pretty sure it's not in copyright, there's no issue there and it'll be my version of it. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Matt. Happy birthday to you. There you go. So this is my happy birthday sing just for you, Matt Tyler. And I want to say, hope you're having a great day. Hope you had a great time with the kids and the family, and you got the cake that you're ever so wanted to enjoy. uh, yeah, definitely. So I want to say again, happy birthday again, Matt, and again, hopefully you had a great day and you're enjoying the rest of the afternoon. But let's jump real quick to the ETS question. Is yeah, definitely. My main thing with the material that they used here is the fact that it actually feels really good. And I realize that Juan Carlos right now is just basically wanting to kick me. Um, it actually, obviously, first and foremost, there is no fingerprint issue here. So the fingerprints are obviously not going to have any problems. And yes, I definitely want to be aware, obviously, that this is not real leather. So it's more of it's very synthetic. And I watched Zach's video on Jerry Rig Everything, and he actually cut into it. There's some white stuff under it as far as the material, which is kind of attributes to the give. But at some point, yeah, I do want to basically say that hopefully this doesn't suffer what normal leather does, meaning we need to actually treat it to make sure that the device doesn't actually have any issues or it starts cracking. But right now, so far, it's pretty good. So we'll have to double check hopefully in about a month. I'm hoping that they let me keep it for a certain amount of time, because if I'm not mistaken, this was actually somebody else's review unit that they were done with it and then they were able to send it over. So these are not, sadly, this is, I don't know how long I'll be able to keep it, but I'm hoping it'll be for some time. Hey TK, I have the 11 Pro, but really interested in the OnePlus 8 Pro. Which one do you think will feel better? So I think it's if we're looking at it as far as I'm assuming, obviously, you're the iPhone 11 Pro. So this size wise, I think if you're not married to the ecosystem, and I mean by essentially is that you're not basically very heavily invested into iMessage as well as, let's say, HomeKit, and as of course the Apple Watch. That's generally the ecosystem that iOS is in there. I feel like between the two, for overall performance, I feel like the OnePlus 8 Pro provides us a better experience because of the speed that's built in, the amount of RAM, the type of RAM that you're getting there as well, the type of internal storage. The QHD 120 hertz display is definitely something you also want to appreciate. Now, there are rumors, obviously, that the new iPhone will carry 120 hertz refresh rate. We've heard those rumors for quite some time. But as far as just overall performance, I feel like the 8 Pro will definitely give you a better experience. Now, does the iPhone 11 Pro have some features, obviously, that the 8 Pro may maybe not perform as well? I feel like for video performance, I feel like realistically that Apple does a much better job overall for video as far as 4K 60 on all the cameras that you have on your device, as far as also color science. So if video is a big part of what you like and you appreciate having that on iOS, or at least on the 11 Pro, I feel like the 8 Pro may not necessarily live up to that. We have a lot of mode. We have a lot of stabilized footage. We have 4K 60 on the back sensor, but only 1080p on the front. So those things you also have to kind of weigh the difference between the two. But if the camera is generally just point and shoot, take some pictures, videos are not necessarily the biggest factor of your decision making for a device, I think it's a good option. I think the 8 Pro will definitely give you a really good experience, and it is fast, crazy fast. Charges fast, wireless charging, reverse wireless charging, and a really gorgeous display. Both of them have gorgeous displays. The 8 Pro and basically, the X2, the Find X2 Pro. And hopefully that answers the questions there. Yeah, so that was the question here. Let's jump over real quick. So Arsenal, TK, what smartwatch are you using right now? This is actually the TicWatch 2 Pro, the TicWatch Pro, the new 2020 model. They did last year. They released the I think was it the TicWatch Pro LTE. That's the one that they basically added LTE for Verizon support, and then they increased the RAM from 512 to a gig, which actually attributed to a much better performance experience on the TicWatch Pro. Pro. And then what they did in 2020 essentially is they updated the 2018 model, which had the 512 without the LTE. So this one is a Wi-Fi variant of the TicWatch Pro, not the 4G LTE one from last year. And that basically will work with any device, iOS or Android. It should be pretty good. And I like it. I like it because of the dual tone display that we have. Let's switch it over here. So if you're looking at the actual phone, let's bring it really close. So here's the watch in the resting mode. This is the external, the top display of it. So you notice here it's a monochrome display. It gives you access to basically just to see the steps, the date and time. And then of course, if I touch the display, it jumps over to the standard mode. And of course, you guys can see, I can start, well, of course, if I can get it to work. So here, it basically just swipes over for information. And last but not least, notifications. And that was the DTS comment that just came in. It's obviously Wear OS working with Android. And I think it should have updated to above that. So I thought I was higher than it, but that from this morning's walk with the family. So yeah, they do actually really good job. It's water resistant. You'll be able to go swimming with it, tracking all sorts of activities, running and all of that. So I really like it. I've actually been a big fan of TicWatch for quite some time, and I've had quite a different versions of it. And I love the fact that they increased the RAM on it. So, are you nice? Thanks, man. I appreciate that, bro. So Greg is asking, please don't forget tell the guys about the enhanced 4G LTE for T-Mobile on the 600 band. Yes, so that's going to be something that is starting to roll out, and that's going to be something that T-Mobile is. So as you guys probably heard, T-Mobile and Sprint finalized their merger, and T-Mobile actually in the U.S., at least on the East Coast so far, have started to actually utilize some of the spectrum that they were able to get access to through the merger with Sprint. And so those are the things that are going to basically start showing faster connected speeds with 5G. It's specifically in the U.S. So if you're on T-Mobile or you're on Sprint, and now you're part of the T-Mobile family, and you're using a OnePlus device or devices that they're supporting, you're definitely going to be very happy. I think the performance is going to be really nice. I think from what I saw, some of the speed tests that they're talking about is they're able to hit close to about a 1 megabit down, which is roughly basically about 10 times as good as the general usage that I get. At the best situation on my OnePlus, I was able to get roughly about 200 down, and that was while I was very close to the tower. But in general, it's roughly about 80 to 100. So getting about almost 1 megabit down, that definitely shows the prowess there. So thank you, Greg, for bringing that up. I forgot about that comment there. But yeah, I think overall, if we're considering looking at these two devices, there's a lot of similarities. The display again is very good. I still feel like the X2 Pro, I feel like is a little bit better. And as far as the display calibration, I think it looks a little bit better overall. But again, touch response, camera performance. I think overall, my favorite experience on this is the fact that they both have the same feature when it comes down to forcing the desktop mode. So if you guys have seen that in some of the other videos, we're able to actually switch into desktop experience. So let me show you what I mean. For that, we will need an MHL adapter. So let's go ahead and do this. So here I'm going to plug it in, bring it in here. And so here we are. I'll give it a second to launch. And as you will see in a few seconds, it's right there. So this is the desktop experience on the Find X2 Pro. And of course, you're able to launch different applications, do everything that you normally get. It is actually a little bit better than what I've seen in the past, but again, it works just as good. And I think the really nice thing about it is activating it on the X2 Pro is exactly the same as the OnePlus. As again, you could probably imagine going to developer options, activating a developer option by getting access to it. And of course, just getting access into the force desktop mode and allow resizing in the window. Once you get those two options, restart your device. And then anytime you plug in your phone into an MHL connected to a TV, it'll give you access directly to the desktop mode. You will need to have some type of connected keyboard, a mouse and keyboard over Bluetooth, because the display doesn't work the same way like Huawei or even Samsung devices, where it just turns the entire display into basically a camera, into a mouse pad. So that's something to keep in mind. So as long as you have a keyboard and mouse, you're pretty much set. Open up YouTube, watch content, do whatever you want. It's a little bit buggy. It's not final, but I'm hoping with Android 11, we'll be able to see some better improvements as well. Hey, good morning, Brandon Miniman. Oh man, Brandon's over. Yeah, obviously he's my boss over at the XDA side, or one of my bosses as well. But yes, definitely welcome to the channel, man. Welcome to the live stream on Saturday morning with tech. Tarek saying is TK. I have a friend who wants to take an iPhone 11 Pro Max for work, but I recommended an 8 Pro. What's your opinion on that? I think From an overall perspective, I think performance-wise, I think if they're using it for work, I think the 8 Pro is definitely much better. You get a higher resolution display, much faster internals as far as just the overall performance. I mean, we have UFS 3.0 on and we're talking just basically read and write, opening, unpacking. If you're opening documents, taking care of certain things, it's a bigger display, a better quality display. So I think for work, the 8 Pro is definitely a much better recommendation from a device standpoint. I think the overall aesthetics, the 11 Pro obviously has different performance, obviously, benefits as well. If the company that they're working with or that you guys are working with obviously likes to use iPhone, they have more of administrative contact over it. I think that's probably going to also force you to go one way or another. But if there isn't any preferences there from an administrative point of view, then I think the 8 Pro is definitely a good option. Nothing against iOS or iPhones. I don't want to make it sound like I'm basically harping on that side. But something that I always appreciated about Android, at least the OnePlus devices within the last couple of years, is the quality of the displays that we're getting from them. And of course, the high refresh rate. Last year, we had the QHD with the 90 hertz display. This year, we have QHD with 120 hertz display. So you're definitely getting the best possible experience. And if you don't want to use that, I mean, obviously you have fast charging on it. You're not going to worry about it. And this year we have IP68 fast charging and wired and wireless. So you can't go wrong with it, of course. Gibson, what do you think about the Dimensity series chipset? It's MediaTek's Dimensity. So I was at an event last year at the end of the year. They invited a few YouTubers on to an event in San Diego, and they gave us a briefing into the new Dimensity chipset. I think MediaTek is coming up very, very quickly. They're trying to catch up to Qualcomm. I think from a standpoint of competitiveness, as far as market share right now, Qualcomm is dominating everything. There's not much really to say about Qualcomm other than the fact that, who are they competing with? Well, I think they're competing with themselves at this point. They're so much light years ahead of what some of the other manufacturers are. Now, when we compare them to MediaTek, I think MediaTek is trying to move away from being what they're known for mostly essentially is like third-party accessories as well as like TVs. You'll be surprised how many devices during that little summit that I had a chance to go in. I was surprised to see how many devices had MediaTek processors, specifically Amazon. Actually, Amazon uses them quite a bit. So the Dimensity chipset, it was supposed to be their foray into the flagship experience type of processors. And I think overall from the performance that they gave us essentially that's going to be their ticket getting into 5G. So are they competitive? Yes. Are they great? Yes. Are they as good as the Qualcomm chipset? I feel like they need some time to get there, also from the sense of what you're expecting as far as the experience there. When it comes down to what we see, of course, with the Kirin chipset, Kirin also is doing a really good job of providing us a really good neck and neck experience. I feel like Kirin's literally like right there, right next to the Qualcomm chipset. The 865 this year is just basically dominating, and that's basically the best way. So what we'll have to see basically with the new Kirin chipset comes out in the next couple of months or so that we'll have to see, because Kirin always kind of jumps ahead of Qualcomm because they release it slightly earlier. So, but to answer the Dimensity chipset, I think they're good, they're competitive, and definitely better than some of the stuff that we've had in the past. But just to keep in mind, it's coming up. Hoping they improve the 5G speeds in Ventura County. Seems like the LTE is slower times on the OnePlus 8. So that's something that so this is from Parsa. I think you probably have the unlocked one as most of us do have. But if you have the T-Mobile one, I think T-Mobile is going to be pushing out an update to make, I think certainly specifically for their bands, the better support for their bands. Unlocked models obviously will get that update, but the hope essentially is, Ventura County is, I think Ventura County, the way I envision it, at least, and you can correct me, of course, it's much more open spaces than what you get with LA County. LA County is much more dense, where Ventura County is more spread because it's closer to the beach. So it's more spread, wider area. So it's harder to get the same speeds, where in LA, we have a lot more towers probably, and that probably attributes to that. Hopefully that answers that question there. And Sid, hey, good morning, Super Sticker. Good morning, and thank you very much for the super chat right there. No, definitely. I appreciate everybody and of course your support for all this time. Let's jump in real quick. Hey, wait, Brandon. Yes. So Brandon Miniman, he's been with XDA for quite some time, and of course, well, I can take it back. XDA / Pocket now. So those are two companies that are kind of owned by the same. Brandon's. I was a big fan of Brandon back in the day when I first started on the YouTube. Of course, back when he used to do videos on Pocket Now, and big big presence as far as the tech world. Everybody knows who Brandon Miniman is. So yeah, big fan. No, yeah, no, definitely great guy. Yeah, and very active on on Twitter. Yeah, I always follow him as well. Thanks, Aditya. Um, so the new Exynos chipset. So Stefan's mentioning here. So don't forget about this new Exynos. My hope is that the Exynos chipsets actually pick up the pace from the last couple of years and start actually competing. And what I mean by competing, I mean providing us basically a one-to-one experience as to what we get from a Qualcomm chipset. Samsung, for some for I'm not sure if it's a market situation or compatibility. For the longest time, the U.S. market has always received basically Snapdragon processors, and I think the Korean market as well. So in their hometown as well as the U.S., you get the Snapdragon variant. And then everywhere in the rest of the world, in the Middle East, the European countries, you always get the Exynos processor. And in the past, prior to the last couple of years, we've had them where the Exynos processors have always performed quite well, and they've done really good job as far as providing us the best experience that you can get with a in-home, basically a built design. And obviously, they make their own chipset, they make their own devices. You would imagine that the device would be the best situation, the best possible one. So let me just double check real quick here. Cool. So but the last couple of years we've had, if you notice, and even with the last generation of the Exynos processors, the performance hasn't really lived up to the experience of the Qualcomm. So that's my hope, is that they pick up their pace in the sense of providing us more of a one-to-one, and maybe even show us some, I would say maybe make it more competitive and start providing the Snapdragon variant, a run for its money. That would be my hope, and I hope that that's something to keep in mind. I'll make sure the stream is still good. So hopefully that answered your question there. And AMD. Oh man. If we are able to start getting desktop, so Intel had its own mobile chipsets, and we've seen them in certain devices, and I think we've realized that for the most part, I think it's pretty much basically an ARM processor, and I think Intel is not really very heavily invested in sticking into ARM at this point, in the sense of having their own dedicated chipset. I think it's pretty much a Qualcomm, Exynos, Kirin, and of course MediaTek that are going to be the major players here. There are obviously other SoC makers, but those are the main known ones that are on the market. But yeah, I'm personally team AMD on my desktop PC, and I actually finally got. Recently, I did a video for the XDA channel on a laptop that actually ran the Ryzen 5 mobile chipset, which it also has an integrated video as well capabilities. It actually was pretty nice. I like them. I'm really happy with them because they generally perform better in the sense of power consumption, as well as the fact that they give you a comparable experience as an Intel. It's not a gaming laptop; it's a general use laptop overall, but I feel like it works really, really nicely. How to participate in the I forgot to mention, yes, so we're almost at the time where I want to be able to draw the winner on this. Very simple. Last week's video, episode 20 of the Saturday Morning with Tech, the video is live, obviously. All you need to do is like and comment. So leave a comment on that video and make sure you hit the like on that on the video, and that pretty much is the entry. And I think we'll be pulling the name in about maybe 5 minutes. So it's 11:12 right now. So yeah, I'll definitely be pulling the winner in about 5 minutes. If you haven't had a chance, make sure to jump that in there. So Matt Tyler is basically saying Exynos, and obviously the vomit emoji there. I think, and obviously he's just to kind of preface that one. He actually uses or he's used the Exynos processors. This is mostly his based on experience, of course. Just getting the notification from YouTube. Oh, it is interesting, isn't it? How YouTube does the notification for the live stream. It's a live stream, right? So it's not a video that could be live later on. But Chemi, thank you very much. One of my buddies as well from the Honor days, Honor travel days as well. Hey, Majid, Sabaho, TK, how are you doing? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm giving it a few more minutes. I see there was about 6 more people that left a like on the video, so that's good. So we got a couple of more people getting in there. It was 50 when we started, and we'll give it, like I said, about three or four more minutes. 57. Yep, I got seeing people jumping in there. Would you call Intel cheaply made? I think it wasn't cheaply made. I think it was just not the focus was. We have to keep in mind that none of the chipsets that we have on our mobile devices today came about by just magic. Obviously, they've had years of development and focus into what your experience is on them. So when you look at that and you look at the fact that we've been using them for quite some time, Intel just hasn't really invested heavily in the mobile space as much as they've invested in the desktop and the mobile in the PC space. So they're known for their PCs. Obviously, they just literally dropped, I think within a week ago, the embargo lifted on some of their new chipsets. So they're dominating in that field. The mobile space for them is something that I feel like just hasn't been a main focus for them. If they've had enough time and they had enough, basically a built up of an ecosystem there, I think they'll be able to be more competitive in the market. But as far as general mobile devices right now, I think Qualcomm is hard to beat, Kirin is hard to beat, as well as the Exynos. And I think they go in that order right now. For me, it's Qualcomm, Kirin, and Exynos. Not that they're bad in the order that they're descending, it's just that that's how the hierarchy is set up. But yeah, I appreciate the fact that I think Intel just needed a little bit more time and more dedication into it. I didn't even get the YouTube notification. I got the Twitter notification. See, yeah, I know. It's the story of my life. Notifications are fun. No, actually, this was the first time I decided to actually tweet it before the show came up live. I normally like to tweet it in the middle of the show, but I appreciate the fact that I think some people are starting to see it. And so quick. Sorry, meant the new chip made by Samsung and AMD together. Oh, you're talking about the chipsets that are going to be going in. Yeah, I'm sorry. So Stefan's talking about the new chipsets, mobile chipsets. I haven't really done that much research on those as far as basically my understanding. The biggest thing that this is coming in with Samsung is as far as the talks about them being working with Google as far as providing the chipset for the next version of their Pixel line, the Pixel 5 line of devices. So we'll have to see how that goes. IU did get the notification. Yes, no, definitely. Okay, so not that let me double check, make sure. Oh man, Yudhvir Sharma. Hey man, how you doing? So feeling like we're around 50 here, so about 40 minutes. Let's go ahead and bring it in. Let me share my screen. And let me see if we do this correctly. So here we are. I'll go ahead and say share. And I am gonna, yeah, it worked. I love it when it works correctly. So here you guys have it. So obviously this is my access to the background here on my channel real quick. So we'll go ahead and refresh. I think if I'm not mistaken, a couple of people went in and I want to say that they got a chance. So here's the video from last week. Of course, we're going to switch over to the right. 62. Oh, wow. We had a few more people. Okay. So pretty good. So all I'm going to do basically at this point is I'm going to be pulling one winner. So obviously there's one phone and we'll be obviously providing you guys the winner on that one. And of course, I'm using one of my nice little tools here under TubeBuddy. And if I'm hoping I'll be able to do this correctly. So here and we're going to pick a winner. Very, very nicely. And as we're getting close there, I want to say real quick, actually jump back. Sorry, because I feel like it's not going to show up. I want to say thank you, Matt Tyler. I appreciate it for the super chat and always appreciate it. Again, happy birthday, bro. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. I hope you guys, if I'm not mistaken, I think let us know who your I'll let you announce who your guest is for tomorrow's video. They're also running their own live stream on Twitch tomorrow. Him and Sam are obviously going to be running it as well. So let's switch over back to the display. And I think I can do this. Yes, here we are. So drum roll, please. I guess if you guys have it. Let's see who it is. We're going to choose basically one person. Obviously, if it does pick one of my comments, since I did respond on some people, we'll just redraw. But other than that, I'll go ahead and find the winner. And as I mentioned to you guys, the process is very simple. Whomever the winner is, I will respond to their comment that they left on the video, and they have 24 hours from the moment I respond back to me and confirm. And at that point, that's pretty much it. They're selected as the winner, and we'll move forward. If for any reason they don't actually respond to me within 24 hours, another person will be drawn until somebody responds. Hopefully, it's a small enough group. I'm hoping I'm hoping the winner is even in the actual live stream right now. So. If you guys are ready, so yeah. Oh, okay. So it's going to be Tim Schofield's going to be over on the chat, which is basically the Across the Pond cast with Matt and Sam tomorrow in the afternoon, Pacific Standard Time, and I think evening time in the UK. But let's not waste any time. Okay, let's go ahead and do this, and let's see real quick. So let's say I pick the winner. Picking the winner, Lanny Tutz. Lanny Tutz got to win. So believe it or not, Lanny has been a follower of this channel and I know it's a she because she follows me also on Instagram. She's actually been a follower of the channel for quite some time, and so first and foremost, congratulations, Lani, and I hope you are in the chat, and I hope you get a chance to obviously see the response and answer me back. I didn't see your name in the live stream right now, but it doesn't mean obviously that you're not there. So again, so Lani is going to be, or Lani or Lani, hopefully it's the right name, is the winner right now. So I will basically just do this on my side. I will switch over to studio, and I'm going to just real quickly as I'm talking to you guys, I'm going to leave a comment so we can start the timer on this one. And I'll give it a second here. But yeah, so it seems like, let me go ahead and say first more, let's switch over back. So yeah, congratulations again, Lani. And I will go ahead and, as I said, just go ahead and leave a comment right now for her. And again, we have 24 hours to get a comment back, and I will communicate with her on how we'll be able to get her the brand new, it's still brand new, Honor V20, View 10. I keep confusing the names, but let's go ahead and find the comments. Very, very happy for you. A long-time follower, a long time supporter of the channel, even here even on Instagram. So let's go ahead and do Lani. And yeah, actually, weird enough, actually, there isn't even a comment from me back to her already. So let me go ahead. We'll do that. Let me just type it in. Switch over here. I'm waiting. Please respond. Confirm. Yeah. Please. Sorry. Nice. Okay, so I went ahead and commented back to her. So hopefully this will send the notification back to her, and we should be able to go, jump back over there. But yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, congrats. And you know, again, it is a very nice. It's very nice to see somebody obviously that's been with the channel for quite some time, and I want to say sometimes, like I'm talking years, that I'm very familiar with. You know, she comments on my posts obviously on Instagram, so that's generally how I connected the two dots. But I also know that she's basically a big fan of the channel. So thank you very much, and congratulations to you as well. And with that being said, it's not going to be the last one. Look forward in the next video. I think I'm finding things that I can give away, which I feel like will be a really good opportunity for you guys. And I think it will definitely be something really good for you guys to appreciate. And of course, just a little bit of a give back to you guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, thank you, man. Thanks. So here, why does OnePlus or Android not update their devices after 3 years like Apple and iPhone? I think it's mostly because of the development cycle and the software support. Apple supports a very small number of devices, right? If you look at them realistically, now they release a plethora. So this year they released the iPhone SE 2020, right? But last year they released 4 main iPhones, and they didn't really update anything else. So they've had basically 4 phones to support. The software update and the hardware development over years, especially since they developed their own processors, makes it easy for them to carry a little bit longer life cycle as far as operating system. Now, keep in mind, when we say Apple supports devices over for an extended amount of time, we have to also mention the fact that Apple also slows down their devices after a certain amount of time. So updating to the latest version of iOS doesn't always mean the best experience on the device, let's say if it's 3 years or 4 years. So Android, on the other end, has a certain limitation as far as the ability of supporting their devices because they iterate a lot faster. The same manufacturer may be releasing multiple devices, and I'm not talking just 3 or 4. They may be releasing close to 5 to 10 devices a year. If we talk about an example, Xiaomi has so many sub-brands and so many companies that run under it. For them to be able to have such a massive software development team to be able to support each device and each version of their software, it's hard. So on the daily, I would feel like Apple has a much more organized, streamlined experience and easier process to support. And of course, you just get that a little different with Android. So I feel like that's where Android comes in, but they're also trying to keep up with what Google provides, because it's also something that Google set the trend for, right? Google supports devices to a certain extent, and then of course manufacturers has to follow through. But at some point, they need to give kind of like an end of life kind of experience. And for some reason, it seems like that's the timeline difference. But again, both do well. I think OnePlus is a great company to offer, updates. And of course, keep in mind, once the updates stop, that's where XDA jump in on Android. With Apple, if you have a device that is just not supported anymore, you're pretty much where you are. That's it. So not much you could do after that, of course. Here, congratulations, everybody. Of course, yeah, everybody's saying congratulations to Lani. I appreciate it. Matt's Juan Baglange just voted for me. Just voted for me. This fixed. Okay, I must have missed the comment before. When is the OnePlus 8 Pro giveaway? So I would say this. Right now, this is the only OnePlus 8 Pro that I have. I don't have a way of giving that one away at this point, sadly. And I won't be able to do anything related to that at least for a year till I see the next version of the device. That's generally what usually happens. So hard for me to give away these devices unless if OnePlus is watching the channel and they'd like to sponsor a giveaway on the channel. I have no problem putting it through to you guys, of course, and sharing with that. And I'll try to reach out and see if they do have additional hardware to help me out with. So unfortunately, not yet. So I didn't want to ignore the question, but I wanted to let you know. Here, let me double check here real quick and see. My notifications are bouncing all over the place. Should really disable the sound on those. For gaming, iOS versus Android, which one is better? I think the experience on Android is going to be a lot better, mostly because of the high refresh rate. And now that we're seeing more gaming-specific phones, like the ROG Phone, or even basically if we're talking about like the Red Magic 5G, the Red Black Shark 3, we're talking the Black Shark 3 Pro has a QHD display with 90 hertz. The ROG Phone has 120 frames per second refresh rate on the 1080p panel, and of course the Red Magic 5G jumps over to 144. So for gaming, hands down, I feel like Android has it, and they definitely push it. Now, does it mean playing games on iOS isn't good? Absolutely not. I think iOS has, of course, a very robust ecosystem and also a very good game development system that actually is supported for their developers. So from a game selection standpoint, I feel like that's going to be a little bit harder to say Android is much better. I feel like Apple's doing a really good job of making their devices friendlier and better for gaming. But I feel like the refresh rate and the resolution on the display has been something that's been holding them back. So my hope is that the iPhone 12 or the 12 series of devices will fix that. But for me right now, I feel like Android is still on top of that, especially, again, 144 hertz, hands down. Juan is in the comments. Oh, here we are. And may or may not be going hands-on with an Xperia Mach 2 soon. See, he was a little bit more on the point with it. I didn't even say anything about that, JC. So Juan and I, yeah, we may not. I don't know. You'll find out soon. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, both Juan Carlos and myself, to hopefully find out very, very soon if we are going to get hands-on on a device, said Mach 2 very, very soon. So yeah, very, very happy. Juan Carlos is in the comments. As I missed it. That's why I just realized that there. Why do people ask for giveaways? Sorry, really annoying me. Creators, I mean, I realize I think a lot of people, they do ask for those. And I feel like the reality at the end of the day, the giveaways will happen whenever we're able to, and we're able to share things with you guys. Again, when I ran into this guy and I wanted to give it away, I felt like this was a great way for me to share it with you guys. And if you noticed, I didn't do a gleam and tweeting every day and all of this. I literally wanted to keep this as small as possible for the channel. And again, for the people that are obviously hanging out with me on Saturdays and making sure to checking out the stream. So for me, that's the best way to do it. But yeah, no, I'm not going to lie to you guys. If I get a lot of questions about giveaways, I generally, again, it doesn't change or doesn't make the frequency as often. It's possible that I may be able to do more, but it's never really something that I always want to drive for it, because realistically, I want to make sure that you guys are subscribed for the right reasons. Don't subscribe just because you want to, for a giveaway specifically, just because you want those. At the end of the day, giveaways have a very much a small limited benefit to the creator, because of the reality of the matter is, if you subscribe just for the giveaway and you unsubscribe after, it doesn't really help anybody. I literally wanted somebody that was a fan of the channel for years, and I could not have asked for it any better than somebody that Lani. I hope really that she does answer right away. And of course, just keep in mind, it's somebody that's been supporting me for years. So this is something that one of the reasons why I wanted to do it this way. But I definitely understand what Matt is talking about, of course. Yeah, no, I mean, you guys know it. That's exactly how I am. I don't try to look at it as one way or another. My goal essentially is to make sure that the tech that we're looking at, we're talking about, is obviously going to be the best. definitely, and let it talk for itself. Matt Tyler, agree. Yeah, definitely. Oh man, hands down, appreciate it, bud. Timmy is asking, what was the minimum spec to get in a gaming laptop? Um, Realistically, I would say I mean, we're talking gaming, like serious gaming. I would say definitely an i7 processor, an Intel i7 processor, or a Ryzen 7 at least, not a Ryzen 5. Just mostly for the CPU, and at least 16 gigs of RAM. I wouldn't go with 8. 8 is I would say literally bare minimum, and you're going to hit certain games that don't necessarily support it. So 12 gigs of RAM, at least a 512 gig SSD with an i7 core processor, or basically a Ryzen 7. So something of that class should be decent enough for you to be able to game on them. And of course, if you're running on an Intel chipset, I would recommend at least, I would say, a 1080 or 2080 GPU from NVIDIA. Those are going to be comparable. You can obviously work with something a little bit lower than that, but I'm just talking about like just consistent good gaming. So, and I think the 1080 laptops now should be pretty reasonably priced. Hashtag TKR Bay. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Where did Greg jump off? Here it is. Okay. I gotta go. So thank you, Greg, for jumping in. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next one. First message, how is that so? Okay, so Young's actually responding back to Juan Carlos. Hopefully you get to see that. OnePlus should sponsor and do some stickers next on the stream. Hey man, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I hope so. I really hope so. I would really appreciate it if they're able to. Believe it or not, there's actually a big following of OnePlus on the channel, and I'm very happy and very appreciative of them being on the channel with us, of course. If you haven't checked that in, or if you haven't had a chance to hear it yet, we did actually pick the winner, and the winner is Lani Tutz, and I did basically respond back to her directly on the actual live stream, or the comments from last week's video. So again, I hope she gets back to me within 24 hours, and as soon as I hear back from her, that confirms it. If unfortunately for some reason or another she does not get back to me, even though again, longtime supporter, I will go ahead and pull another winner, of course. TK, please show me the OnePlus 8 Pro recent firmware update and a quick review after the update. The biggest update that they pushed out with the last update on the OnePlus 8 Pro hasn't really addressed the display concern. So if you're looking mostly on the display side, I haven't had that issue on my unit, so I haven't really seen a necessity, or basically haven't needed to see that function basically highlighted. But as far as the actual performance, the camera performance, and of course, just the overall general performance, is hard to really show other than just basically showing you that the device works great. But let's go ahead and just switch over, and let me just show you some of the images, the last few images that we were able to do. Actually, this was from last week's live stream. I think the overall experience on the actual device hasn't really changed much. For me, it hasn't really been a big issue. So if you've had problems with the phone, as far as the camera, they did actually push out some updates for the camera, which is definitely very good. So overall, I feel like if you are in the camp of thinking about getting a OnePlus 8 Pro, make sure you get it from a place that you are able to exchange it in case it does have any problems with the display. But otherwise, the last update was definitely very nice to. As far as performance, because I actually lost, I'm back. I am back. It's like it has to happen once a week. I did run a Geekbench score between both the 8 Pro and the Find X2 Pro, and I realized that they actually very pretty much neck and neck. But the actual OnePlus 8 Pro did it ever so slightly edge ahead of the Find X2 Pro, even though they literally are running the same processor and very much the similar as far as the RAM as well. What is the OnePlus 8 Pro touch response? It's 170 hertz. So where it's 240 on the OnePlus 8 Pro, it's 170 on the OnePlus 8. So not as fast, but definitely good enough for gaming and overall general experience. It's some of the things that they did basically had to compromise on to fit into that price point. But yeah, 170 on that one. Hopefully that helps you there. Gary's question is if Google stops making pixels, or if they go mid-range, I'm all in on OnePlus. So I'm with you on the sense of I was very, very much surprised when I heard the shift in approach. If they do decide to just go mid range, and when we're saying mid range, we're talking about the Snapdragon 765, which is not exactly a very slow processor. It's the best of the mid range processors. This is 7 series, either be it the 765 or the 768, which is pretty much a 765 slightly overclocked. I feel like it's going to change a lot of people's perspective. I think a lot of us do appreciate having a Pixel device with some of the latest specifications. The shift in some of the leaks that we're seeing, even that with the fact that the Pixel 4a will not have an XL model, that is pretty much just going to be a smaller form factor, which essentially a 4a with 5G and a 4a without 5G. That's also a surprise. I'm not sure why, and if the departure of some of the main designers, of course, or the people that were in the Pixel team from the company is affecting that. But I think OnePlus definitely with a great Gcam mod will work as good and give you a really good experience. I feel like Pixel still needs to work as far as the pricing and of course better adoption in markets. And I hope they also start selling them in more markets outside of the US, and not just US and Europe, but also like go into India, go into the Middle East, because those are areas that definitely would benefit from them and want to be able to buy them, but haven't really been able to buy them directly. So hopefully that gets us there. Yeah, it is buffering a little bit on my end. Let me just jump back into the stream. I'm not sure why, but for me in the actual live stream, it looks great. Outside of that, though, it doesn't. Let me just jump here and we'll do YouTube. Back. My computer and where I am are actually quite far. So let's open it up here. No, it seems like it's okay. So it's coming back. It's coming back. It's good. So we're not too far off. Yeah, thanks, Aditi. I appreciate it. Matt Tyler, how so? What's up with? Oh, okay. I think they're commenting back to each other. Great. So here, why YouTubers do not compare between the iPad Pro and the Microsoft Surface Pro devices, and consider the iPad Pro is the best. Is the iPad Pro the best tablet? And do you think that the iPad Pro is the best tablet, and why? So comparing Microsoft to Apple, it's an ecosystem situation. Most of us, it's like saying, like, why don't you? I mean, you'll see a lot of comparison between Android and iOS, and I feel like there's a certain caveat you have to jump in when you're making a comparison, because that comparison is literally made for somebody that is getting into the ecosystem that is not already vested in. If you've owned an Android device and you've been unhappy for some time, that may be obviously also a wild card that goes in there, but you're literally preaching to the choir. If you're preaching saying that the iPad is the best tablet on the market, you're basically preaching to an iPad owner. An Android owner that owns an Android tablet generally will not be researching an iPad online unless they're looking to buy into a new tablet. Now, from personally using iPads and using Android tablets as well, do I think the iPad Pro is definitely the best tablet? I think we can't ignore the fact that iPads or iOS and Apple made the tablet form factor a success. So that's first and foremost. They've always basically tried to push the limitations of what you can do with a tablet. And of course, the latest iPad Pros are proven, basically, I would say a very much a blurred line between the MacBook Air and what you can do on a tablet. So yes, I think iPads are the best tablets on the market if you're looking to get the latest and greatest and best experience. Are they why don't we compare them to basically service book tablets? Because again, if you're a Windows ecosystem user and the tools that you use are Windows-based applications, iPad can't even compete. iPad still runs basically a mobile platform optimized for tablets, where obviously a Windows PC is running a Windows version of a full version of Windows. Even if you run the ARM version of Windows, it's still a desktop experience that hasn't been basically shifted over. So that's the best experience to look at. Hard to basically say why one is better than the other, but it's more of a usability situation. Yeah, I think he commented it twice there. So. Please make a detailed comparison video on the cameras on the OnePlus 8 Pro versus the 11 Pro. With I appreciate. Yes, no, I do have the 11 Pro. I have the 11 Pro Max, but the 11 Pro and the 11 Pro Max both have the same cameras. So the OnePlus 8 Pro, that's a video that I think a lot of people were asking me as well. But I've also seen some people that want to see a comparison between these two. Just truly see the comparison between what are the comparisons as far as performance, gaming, and of course the camera. So we'll definitely look into those. Is there? Sorry. Will there be a OnePlus 8T Pro? So this year, it's going to be. I think if we follow obviously the last year's evolutionary step. I think there's going to be an 8T and an 8T Pro. Yes. Will there be a major difference between the two? I feel like the iterative upgrade between the beginning of the year and the latter part of the year will be small and minimal at best. We already have obviously the best situation as far as the displays. I feel like the display will probably be the same. There may be some internal tweaks that they can do, but I think if you're picking up a device at the beginning of the year with the 2020, like this 8 Pro, you're definitely not going to be disappointed. I think it's definitely going to be really good. ROG Phone, the latest rumors that we're looking into that, obviously it looks like it's within the next couple of months. So midsummer, we'll be hearing about the ROG Phone 3. And my hope obviously is 144 or either 144 or at least 120 with QHD. We want to be able to see higher resolution. We know the 120 QHD exists, obviously proof and proof. So it would be amazing if they're able to push it beyond that and go QHD with 144, because that would just rock it. So yes, definitely very soon on the ROG Phone 3. Matt Tyler, the OnePlus 8 Pro's fingerprint scanner is a more of a hit and miss for me, and I've had serious issues setting it up, and maybe it can be fixed in software update. I think so. I think the overall experience, and I'm not sure if we're so first and foremost, make sure you're running the latest version. So here, let's just open it up. I didn't want to here. So unlock. And sorry, I'll have to take away your comment, Matt. Not that I want to hide it, but so here, lock, unlock. Let me know if this is how it's been for you. For me, this is literally consistent. And then I have the same exact situation here. It just unlocks right away. I would say definitely make sure you register the thumb, and then when you're registering it, do as much as possible, not just the straight down as much as just do sideways, upwards, and have it basically cover your finger really, really well. Also, are you using it? Did you end up installing that glass protector that you shared with me? Because I haven't received those yet. That also sometimes may hinder the experience. Glass protectors do somewhat delay the fact, because there is a slightly higher gap between where you are and where your finger is. I don't have a screen protector on mine as well. The Find X2 does. Sorry, that was his. And here, Gary, I hope Google gets themselves sorted. Yeah, I really, really, really hope that they do. Let me jump back really. Okay, so here's the comment we got from Juan Carlos. Hey, hope Google will start using their own chips soon. It could be the biggest win for Pixel, especially if we start. Absolutely. So Juan Carlos, if you guys are not familiar with, is a buddy of mine, very, very good friend to the channel. Juan Carlos has his own channel as well, Juan Bagnell. And so, yeah, if Google starts dealing with it or working the experience, I mean, the best way to say it is just, even if they do take a page out of Apple's book, have your own chipset, have your own ecosystem on the hardware. And obviously, since you work heavily on the software optimization, that will just basically kill it, because whichever system you go with the SoC, even if you build your own or if you contract it through a company, but make it specific, like a proprietary chipset, having the software optimized for that is basically how Apple's been doing great with a lower amount of RAM, lower processing. Not to say that the A13 or the processors are slow, but the requirements for the performance as far as the system, we don't have 12 gigs of RAM on an iPhone. Android for OnePlus, they're utilizing 12 gigs. That would mean we haven't seen 4 gigs of RAM for quite some time. We have seen 6, 8, 12. Some devices have 16. Apple's been able to do great with 2 gigs. Again, that's due to the fact that they take care of their processors, their hardware, as well as their software in the same company. And I think Google will definitely benefit that as well. So Juan Carlos, definitely, I appreciate that one there. Where are we there? And I think here. Oh, my. Oh, manicure. Yes, no, this is quarantine life, my friend. Self manicure, self beard trimming, self everything. Realistically, it's been tough. It's been tough, man. But yeah, actually, let's just say this, Juan. Let me know what you think about maybe you and I getting on a live stream in the near future. We'll do something like we usually do. I think it'll be a good conversation, a show conversation between the two of us. And maybe we'll do that, and I think it'll be good. Maybe I can come over on Monday or jump in on Monday's live stream maybe for a little bit. We'll talk. Which Quad HT panel is better, the Oppo Find, the OnePlus 8 Pro or the Find X2 Pro? Answer is pretty simple. They're very similar panels, but if you cut down to the point of just basically the tuning and the performance, I feel like the Find X2 Pro is a little bit better. It does edge out a little bit. Both can get very bright. Both are very beautiful panels. And I say this because, again, here's both devices, and I'm going to put them side by side. and you put them next to each other and you look at the panels, it literally looks identical. Performance wise, they perform again very much the same, and they're both very fast, both supporting a very fast resolution. So very happy with both. But if I had to just go down basically the specifics, I feel like the Find X2 Pro is just ever so slightly higher as far as, and it's mostly a tuning thing, not that it's actually better as far as physically as the panel is. So we'll jump back into that one. And Aditya, hence the TKR pay, and you are some Faraday cage posterior guy. Oh my god, yes. There's this running thing going on with. Hopefully I'm back. Yes, I am back. I seriously think my internet provider every Saturday morning, they're like, this guy's going live, let's start messing with him, because this doesn't happen on my on the live stream for Amazon, although it did kind of go slightly off. But yeah, no, definitely. So the joke essentially is whatever Juan Carlos is doing, we'll just basically just like hashtag something and end it with guy. So hashtag our guy, some dancing guy, some singing guy, some camera guy, and this is some Faraday cage posterior guy. I don't have a screen protector on it at all. The latest software in my experience is a lot different than yours. It doesn't recognize my finger. I have to set it up multiple times, so I don't know. That is interesting. Do me a favor, just for the sake of experimenting, try it with your other hand. Register a different thumb or a different finger on your hand, and just see if it performs the exact same way. And I'm not sure if it's something maybe. I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm hoping it's not an issue with the hardware. But if you are running the software, let me just double check for me on my side. I think if I'm not mistaken, no, not there. Yeah, I am using the right one here. Just want to make sure. So here, I am running 10.5.8 IN11AA. So that's the version of the software that I'm running on mine. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there is no more updates. I think I'm running the latest version of Oxygen OS. Yes. So hopefully you're running that one. And if you're not, let's talk after and see if we can get it side loaded to your device. Will OnePlus release truly wireless headphones in the future? Believe it or not, they were supposed to release a pair, from what we heard in the rumors, at the same time as the OnePlus 8 and 8 Pro. My hope essentially is that the rumors that are going around right now with the truly wireless will come around at the same time as the supposedly, again, rumored OnePlus X. So in the near future, I feel like the reason why they haven't gone that route is because they haven't found a way to provide you the same experience as what you're getting with the Bullets Wireless. They released the Bullets Wireless Z, which I feel like are a more budget-friendly, low latency experience. But again, I feel like the Wireless Bullets 2 are still the best headphones that they have to offer. The Z is great, but it's just not the same experience from the audio quality standpoint. It's great from the price point, but again, I hope that they'll see it soon. Some jealous guy. Matt, oh my god. So DT is jumping back in. Any residue on your fingers after wearing gloves or maybe cuts? That was exactly what I was thinking about that, Aditya. So Aditya is giving some real quick comments, mostly about Matt Tyler's experience with the fingerprint sensor on the OnePlus. Obviously, if your fingers are either there's residue oil, if you're you're trying to unlock your device after just taking them out of wearing gloves for an extended amount of time, those things will actually hinder the experience, obviously. So I recommend always setting up face unlock, fingerprint unlock at the same time, so that it ends up using the best possible way, if you'd like. But definitely let us know. Hey, okay. So I'm hoping this comment is for me. Juan Carlos is for sure. So look forward to some live streaming between myself and Juan Carlos in the near future on a device that you guys like, and on a device that you guys will appreciate, and of course love covering on the channel. I'll leave it there. I'll just leave it there. Both thumb are interesting. So both thumbs are acting at the same. Okay, so I have a feeling that it may be an issue. That may be more of a hardware issue. I'm hoping it's not because if you're running the latest software and it's running the same way on both your thumbs, it may be something else going on. So if you're able to do a swap, I think that may be something that you want to consider before I'm not sure how your exchange policy is, but I think you have, before you have to start using the warranty from OnePlus. So let me know how that goes. Aditya is jumping back. TK has entered the building. Yes, I know. I keep ducking in and coming back. Yeah, TK's back. Oh, 11BA. So I think we should be the same one then. No, I'm running 11AA. You're actually ahead of me. If you're running BA, so you're technically one version ahead of me. So wonder why. That is interesting. It also could be a region. Maybe your version of the software, the BA, is the same as the AA. Maybe just more marketed towards Europe. Um, I like I said, honestly, if it's something that is so let's just say this: if it's an issue, take care of it before your your exchange policy expires, because you still have that exchange policy before you start having to do a warranty exchange. That takes a lot longer. You have to send it in. There's a whole bunch of things going on, and I feel like exchanging it within the first window of purchase is much easier. Hopefully that gets in there. So yeah, with that being said, I did want to mention real quick as far as some of the stuff coming in this week on the channel. I'm working on a video. So let's put it this way: there's a couple videos coming out that are going to be very cool, very nice, and very. I cannot confirm what they're going to be on, but I let you guys know. You guys kind of know what they're going to be. Coming up in the near future. And then, of course, I'm also working on a video comparing the Mi 10 and the OnePlus 8. I feel like those two devices are, since I don't have the Mi 10 Pro, I didn't really feel like the Mi 10 should be compared to the OnePlus 8 Pro. I felt like a Mi 10, a 1080, I think it's like a 1080p 90 hertz refresh rate panel to a 90 hertz refresh with 1080p panel on both devices. Both have multiple cameras, and of course, both of them roughly priced close enough to the price point that they feel like a good comparison between the two. So that video is going to be coming out this week on the channel. Look forward to a video on an S20 tablet, not a Samsung. It's called an S20. That's just the name of it as well on the channel, as well as the Soundcore the Liberty Pro 2 headphones as well. I'm finishing up the video on that. I think those are going to be really good use case for a lot of people on the channel. Sharma, if I replace my OnePlus 8 Pro battery from the OnePlus 8 service center in the future after 3 years, will it survive 5 years like the iPhone? What do you think? So if the battery is replaced, yes, there's no question that you'll be able to have obviously a good battery life for the experience that you're getting. Now, unfortunately, security patch updates and software updates officially through OnePlus will obviously stop at some point. But if I'm assuming you obviously know me either from XDA or something relating to development, you are obviously very aware that OnePlus's community obviously survives. There is builds from Lineage OS, other operating system that you can download that will extend the software experience on your device for quite some time beyond those years. So yes, if you get the battery replaced, I don't think there's a reason why you wouldn't be able to basically get the device or keep it for a few additional few years. I think the experience may be different, but the device and the hardware will still be very nice. But again, a lot of us upgrade not necessarily because our hardware is obsolete, but it's either for us because of certain specific features we want to be able to watch or get, and of course, start using. That generally pushes the upgrade cycle on most of the time. Because I actually know still some people that are using, that still use devices from 3 years to 4 years, and they haven't found the need to upgrade to a new device. This one is okay. So Matt's talking about the OnePlus 8 Pro. So his version is, he bought it from John Lewis. Not Okay, not a single update since he powered it on with 11B. I think it's mostly because of when you got it. I've had my unit. I've had for literally about 2 months. I got it at the end of March, so I've had it all of March, and we're almost at the end of May, so almost 2 months now. And that's why I have a few versions of software update. But I also know that in the past, the way OnePlus does it, at least with their updates, if you're not trying to do VPN somewhere to be able to get the update early, they generally push updates in certain markets first, so that they don't flood their servers or their update servers with demands for every single device. So there may be a staged rollout that you're running a different version of the software. Reach out to their support, see if there's maybe some kind of an issue, or maybe they have a documented issue with the version of BA, the 11BA version that you have. We'll have to see that. But if you're able to exchange it, yes. If not, hopefully they can fix it in software. I can't use the same phone for more than 2 months. I'm a phone addict. So Arsenal, believe me, man, I know the life. And the last few months, even though we've all been kind of in this situation where we're all sitting in at home for quite some time, it's been a season for phones. And with the fact that there is no basically PR, big stages and events, companies have been more willing to be more friendly with sending at least me and hopefully Juan Carlos as well, devices to be able to check out. So I'm very happy with that. But man, hey, if the pocket can allow it, and you're able to hand with it, enjoy it, have fun with it. Literally every 2 months, there's something new coming out. I mean, sometimes I feel like every week. Um, we'll chat after. Don't want to take up anymore. Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll definitely keep it. Stefan, please, does the OnePlus 8 Pro hide text input box when typing in Instagram, YouTube, amongst and more? Okay, let's, if I get this correctly. So you're saying is hide the text box when typing. I don't think it does. I think overall for me, so let's go ahead and open up Instagram here. And then let's go ahead and open up one of my videos or one of my pictures, and I'll go ahead and open up the box. So here, I'll show you exactly what it looks like. So this, hey, Stefan, real quick. So here's the OnePlus 8 Pro. I'll bring the microphone over. So here's the actual comment. Obviously, if I hit the video to hit the comment, so everything kind of shifts up to the top, I can start typing, and this is pretty much where I'm done. And if I hide the keyboard, it doesn't bring back the everything, but it keeps the text box for me to read. So even though I'm typing here, and you guys can see right there. So this is Lonnie's comment. Oops, I'll go ahead and put it in. This is Lonnie's comment on the Find X2 Pro. Again, as I said, big fan there. Here, so essentially, I'm able to scroll through all the comments. There's no problem at all. In the YouTube system now, just be aware that YouTube actually switched over the way the comment box is different now. You actually have to click the comments, and it'll open up the comments separately, and then of course takes over the whole bottom part of the video. If you're looking at it in portrait mode, if you're looking at it in landscape, obviously comments are not shown at this point. So hopefully that answers that question for you. So as of May 6th, so yeah, so My Tech Reviews is, I think we're both in the US, so I think we're both running the 11AA. I'm not sure how he was able to get 11BA, but I'm assuming B obviously comes after A. So it may also be just the 11AA version of the software, but named differently for European markets. So that's why I would say just give them a call. BA. Exactly. See, Stefan, is exactly what it is. So AA is for America, and of course BA is for European markets. So the same version of the software then. Do you think that TCL was wrong to partner? That's a wrong partner for BlackBerry. I think because they overpriced TCL phone, they did the same thing with BlackBerry, and I hope tech YouTubers or tech tubers will take steps to making BlackBerry. Other companies will be able to do so. The relationship that TCL took over with BlackBerry, obviously, as we all know, BlackBerry as a brand or as a license, they had their challenges. I mean, it was basically gone. It was about to go away. The sales for BlackBerry devices, unfortunately, with the way Apple went into the business world of basically providing corporate devices for and their security system, they kind of overtook it. And I feel like BlackBerry, we've all seen that it took them a little bit of time to basically try to catch up. And the few devices that they did decide to push out were not necessarily successful, either because they were trying different experiences, trying to keep the keyboard, trying to take it away. And I felt like TCL carried the torch, especially with the Key 2 and the Key 1. The Key 1 was a great device. I feel like the Key 2 is a spot-on device, still runs very, very nicely if you're able to get one. And of course, sadly, it was basically pretty much the last of the line right now. It doesn't mean BlackBerry can't come back, but I also feel like TCL wants to focus more on their own brand of devices. And if from a business standpoint, we have to appreciate the fact that they carried the brand. The sad part is obviously they're not carrying it anymore, and I would have hoped for them to keep it. But for them right now, the focus is their own TCL brand of the devices. TCL named even like the 10L and the 10 Pro. And of course, I'm hoping that Nokia keeps going. So I haven't heard anything about that part, but it's tough. It's tough for a company to take over so many brands and still be successful. Xiaomi does a great job at it, but again, it just makes it so that there's a new phone from Xiaomi literally every other week. They're all great phones, but again, just depending on how many sub brands can you carry. Here, yeah, sorry, that was the right one. So here. What is your daily driver? And so last week it was when we checked out the last week's comment. So we had the S20 Ultras. I think I mentioned that before. I use that one as my daily driver, mostly for personal use. What I mean by that is like banking applications, things that I generally don't like to transfer from a review device to another. And I can tell you that the Find X2 Pro is one of my secondary devices that I'm using. So just keep that. And there is another device that is that will be shared with you guys very soon that I've been using starting very, very recently. So it hasn't been that long that I've had it. The Find X2 also came in this week, which is very, very nice. So this week kind of changed it. I can definitely say the S20 Ultra is still my main driver, although not the main device I use for camera. It's a great camera on it. Nothing's wrong with it. But I've been playing around with so many of the great devices with cameras, like the Find X2 Pro here with a great camera setup here. And of course, the OnePlus 8 Pro, since I've been playing around with those. So I would say Find X2 Pro, Device X. That was a bad one to say. And of course, the S20 Ultra. Hopefully that answers that question there. Good day, Mr. T. Hey, how you doing, man? From the actual tech, what do you recommend for VR experience? What do you expect that from VR in real, and as far as the short term? Honestly, right now, I didn't really think about it. So sometime later in last year's, in 2019, I decided to pick up an Oculus Quest. I was always thinking I was going to go for an Oculus Rift or something like, a heavy, not saying heavy, but like mainstream VR experience connected to a PC. And after the Qualcomm Summit that I had a chance to play with an Oculus Quest, and I got a chance to play Beat Saber and notice how the tracking and everything. I think from a mobile experience, if you're talking smartphone, I feel like the ecosystem has basically kind of been shifted. We have the Quest from Oculus that essentially is using a mobile processor from Qualcomm that is optimized to only run in that experience, and it works really good. And it is very mobile, no need to connect it to a PC, although you can. If you want to be able to run it with the latest update to the Oculus Quest. So I think from an experience, for the best possible experience right now, the Oculus Quest from a standalone standpoint. If you're looking into a gaming system that obviously includes your smartphone in there, sadly, the Gear VR has kind of been gone out. I think Google Cardboard is something that you can still technically try, but I feel like it's not very strong. If you're looking to truly enjoy your gaming, see if you're able to pick up an Oculus Quest. I think it's been one of the best one, hands down, personal experience. And of course, everybody I know loves it that has one. I appreciate it as well. In the comments section, sorry. Yeah, I guess somebody else. Is Instagram stories? Yeah, so that was the comments. Stefan, I think that was the one I was showing in the comments for Instagram. Is Instagram stories photo and video upload quality is good like iPhone or case for Android's device? I think you kind of said it in your question. It is kind of okay. Different devices have different issues with the system. I think the only device that has officially received support from the development from, let's say, from Google, I would say, it's not really just Google, but it's the Pixel team. So the Pixel 4 or the Pixel 4 XL both have been optimized to work great. It can provide you the same experience on Instagram. I think Samsung has an Instagram mode inside of their camera, and essentially what it's doing is providing you the ability of taking the picture with your camera with the best possible setup and then sending it straight into Instagram to share. That's pretty much what it's doing. And I feel like that's the best experience right now. Other than that, it's hit and miss depending on the manufacturer. They're not being optimized from Instagram side as well as the manufacturer side. They're not spending enough time for that. And that's mostly because of just the diversity of the devices that you have on Android. Apple, obviously, I think Instagram, for the most part, like releases things to iOS first, Android is second, but that's because of the bread and butter situation. It's their bread and butter. I think 90 people that use Instagram initially was mostly iOS users, and that's how they've been focused as far as the ecosystem. And also from a development standpoint, it's much easier to develop for a smaller ecosystem the way iOS is than it is to develop for Android, which has a lot more variance between hardware, software, versions, all of the things that way. So it's hard, especially with not every manufacturer runs the same version of the software. So hopefully that gets it there. Speaking of which, actually, not that I don't want to talk about tech, specifically mobile tech. So NVIDIA and Adobe pushed out an update this week. So if you guys use Adobe Premiere, or if you're familiar or you know anybody that uses Premiere, and they happen to have, let's say, a 2080, it's basically an RTX-enabled GPU from NVIDIA. So NVIDIA and Adobe finally activated basically hardware accelerated hardware accelerated GPU rendering as opposed to software rendering, software accelerated. And what that means essentially is that the ability of running your entire rendering process on the GPU, no longer needing CPU power. So if you've ever rendered a video, and you've always had the concern, basically, my CPU is not the best, but I've just put in this brand new video card. How come it's not doing great? Because for the most part, we've had optimizations done for GPU processing when you're doing scrubbing and editing the video in the timeline. And they finally did that for processing to be able to push out the video processing. So very happy with that, especially for people that obviously are able to update or upgrade their hardware for the GPU, and of course have some of the latest chipsets from NVIDIA as well. So another great collaboration between NVIDIA and Adobe. I mean, last year we saw AI framing that came out with them, and this year with that one. So rendering times have been really good, and very much cut short, what is pretty much everybody loves having there. Oxygen updater from the Play Store. You can update the stock firmware. That's true. That's one of the other ways you're able to basically download firmware from other places if you don't want to use the VPN. And I have used Oxygen Updater. I think it works great, especially for supported ones for your device. If you're looking to just download the firmware and it hasn't shown up on an Oxygen OS device like a OnePlus 8, 8 Pro, 7 Pro, 7T, go in there and check it out. And I'm pretty sure it's definitely one of the best options. Thanks, Stefan, for letting us know about that one. Harvey, gotta go for now. Hey man, how you doing? Be safe, everyone. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. Appreciate you stopping by. And Muhammad here, أعطينا كلمات بالعربي. So Muhammad الجمعة. Hopefully he's doing good. اهلا وسهلا، مرحبا فيك، وان شاء الله هيك بتنبسط مبسوط، وان شاء الله بنعمل واحدة جديد لكم كمان بالعربي. Hopefully that answers it. He wanted to hear some stuff in Arabic. Haven't had a chance to actually. We didn't get a lot of comments in Arabic, so I didn't get a chance to jump on those. It's sad that the mobile VR is dead now that we have so many good screens on them. That is actually a very interesting prospect. I mean, the reality of the matter is, last year with the S10 Plus was the last one to support the Gear VR. And I didn't realize why Samsung decided to, other than the fact that obviously is they have a vested interest for us to buy more dedicated VR experience. Prior to that, they didn't basically buy the ecosystem. So it's hard from a business standpoint. It makes sense for them. It doesn't make sense for us. You're right. We have a QHD resolution OLED panel that's sitting on this device with a high refresh rate. Why are we not using this for basically a gaming experience that we've seen the Gear VR over and over prove that it is quite possible? Because when you shift over to, let's say, using the Oculus Quest and you play these games, the reality of the matter is it's really not that much different than a smartphone, except that it's dedicated. The hardware is dedicated and it's separate from your phone. I hope that we do see another iteration of something that uses smartphone. I did see during my visit over at CES, as well as last year's Qualcomm Summit, AR-based experience on smartphones. And what they're doing is they're not using the smartphone for the gaming experience. What they're doing is they're using the horsepower of the smartphone as, basically, think of it as the portable PC for it. So you run a USB-C cable from it to basically that runs through AR-enabled glasses, and then you get the experience of playing games in AR as opposed to just total VR. So augmented reality versus virtual reality. Augmented reality essentially is adds things into your environment, where virtual reality takes you into the environment. So it's a little bit of a difference there. But I hope to see some more stuff coming in that way as well. Question here. Yeah, so that was that one on there. And then, of course, which sound quality is the best, OnePlus Bullets 2 or the OnePlus Bullets Wireless Z? Great question, and I think that was mostly the main answer on the main videos that we did before. It's a straight answer. OnePlus Bullets 2 sound better. There's no question. They support aptX HD. They also have basically better drivers on them. So they're commanding a slightly higher price point than what you have with the OnePlus Bullets Z. I think the Bullets Z are intended to be budget friendly and good. I mean, they sound good. They're not bad. I'm not saying they're trash. What I'm saying essentially is that from a comparison standpoint, the Bullets 2 sound better. I find that the response time, as far as the latency on them, the OnePlus Wireless Z are faster. So they have a lower, basically, latency response on the device, especially when you're playing in Fanatic mode, where the OnePlus Bullet 2 are ever so slightly behind that. So it's kind of a, pick whichever one you feel like is better for you. If you want a better sound, but don't mind losing a little bit of a delay, then these Bullets 2. And if you want a better performance, but don't mind so much on the sound, and I mean by basically like very bass heavy, just the quality, the audio, the Bullets C's are going to be good. But if I have a choice and price isn't an issue, I would definitely go with the Bullets 2. Yes, and I think it's mostly because of the fact that they just left the ecosystem. They were the one spearheading it. I had so many different things that I used to love doing with the Gear. I still actually have quite a few Gear VRs sitting at home that I haven't had a chance to be able to check out. But then at the end of the day, now I don't even have a phone that supports it. My S10 Plus, which was the last one device that supported the Gear VR, sadly I had to exchange or trade in to be able to get the S20 Ultra. As you guys know, not all devices that get sent out to the channel are devices that I either A, keep or B, get for free. A lot of them are either loaners, I borrow them, or even I have to basically, sell and keep churning things around to be able to support my I would say smartphone habit. That's the best way to say it. Muhammad, thank you, thank you, thank you. So the Pixel 4 XL before 3-day, I have in. Okay, and is there any way to make the radar gestures work without rooting your device? No. You need to root the device. Right now, it's area limited, and that's why you haven't been able to use it. And just to kind of reference it real quick, so Muhammad's using the Pixel 4 XL outside of the US, and specific market, actually, not all the areas. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Kuwait has it. A buddy of mine that has one in Kuwait, he said he was traveling through Kuwait, and as he was going through the airport, it actually did activate for him, and then it got disabled when he left the airport. So depending on the area you're in, without rooting the device, it's not easy to turn it on because by default it's region locked. And as long as you're connected to the internet and you're using it online, which you have to for any smartphone, it won't work. It knows exactly where you are. But yeah, definitely check out the XDA forums if you're interested in that function. Ahlan wa sahlan, by the way. How's the bass on the OnePlus? Actually, they're very nice. The overall performance is actually very good. You have a good sound stage as far as just the overalls, the mids and lows. It's definitely, if you're, I wouldn't say necessarily, basically bass heavy, but it definitely has enough of a bass that you feel it. The audio quality is very good, especially for vocals and of course EDM, which is generally what I listen to. But I think the experience you're getting there with aptX HD was the better performance that they leaped from the first version of the OnePlus Bullets. And OnePlus Bullets Z kind of took more of the budget version of the Bullets 2. They look the same. And of course, just from an experience standpoint, I feel like that if you're looking for a pair of headphones that benefits from being optimized to work with OnePlus devices, the Bullets 2, I think, is the best experience you'll be able to get. And I think that was mostly it. Okay, so with that being said, before we go too far, I do want to mention one more time in case you didn't get a chance to check it out. Lani Tuts, I'm hoping that's her name. The reason I say that is that we haven't really communicated directly other than through our comments here and as well as Instagram. But Lani, if you have a chance, please make sure to check the comment that I left for you on my YouTube channel. I do need you to be able to basically go in there and respond back to confirm you're winning. And if in 24 hours, meaning noon tomorrow on Sunday, I don't hear back from her on the comment, the responding back confirming it, sadly, we'll have to pick up another person, but I'm sure it'll be a really good follower and on the channel again. Lani's been supporting the channel for quite some time, for years. And of course, I'm very happy for her to be able to win the brand new, the Honor View 10. Again, let's go ahead and switch back. It's a great device, good cameras, and of course will definitely be a good prize for anybody. And I'm happy that I was able to find an additional unit here that I skipped, and I'm not sure how that happened. But yeah, no, last one. Hopefully, if you haven't, go check the El Jefe Reviews channel. Oh, absolutely, yes. No, quick plug for El Jefe. If you haven't checked it out, if you're big into audio headphones, in-ear, over-the-ear, any kind of audio main specifications, I would definitely say El Jefe for headphones. I think he even reviewed the Liberty, the Soundcore. The Soundcore Liberty 2 Pros. I'm not sure if he did get a chance to play around with the wireless Bullets Z yet. But if you haven't had a chance, make sure you check him out. He's definitely one of the bigger guys as far as audio. Gary the Fireman, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate you hanging out and basically just being as usual. I love to support you as much as possible, and I also love the fact that you are supporting me on everything and being a big part of the Juan Carlos team of, I would say, the ecosystem that Juan Carlos puts together, and of course makes us all very proud to be part of. And of course, DT, thanks, TK, appreciate it. And great interaction. Stay home, be safe. Great weekend ahead. And yeah, make sure you check out the channel and keep it tuned. Make sure you have the bell notification turned on for both my channel and Juan Carlos this weekend. That's the best way to, I would say. You're not going to be disappointed. Is it better to go with the OnePlus Bullets 2 or wait for the OnePlus True Wireless? It's a little bit hard to tell with something that hasn't been released at this point. If you have to pull the trigger, I would go with the OnePlus Bullets 2. Definitely on that one. Last one before we end it. I think one of the biggest losses of mobile phones enthusiasts is that the whole Huawei situation. I've picked up a P40 Pro and an 8 Pro, both amazing, but I tend to use the P40 Pro for mainly because of size. Um, very I know what you mean. I know what you mean. There is obviously there's a whole controversy, and we're not going to try to be able to debate that one here. But we'll finish that one as far as the last question to talk about a little bit on the channel. Yes, I feel very much a big shift in the way things are going on right now. Huawei has been pushing the mobile photography tech ecosystem forward for years. If you're looking at a pair of devices on the market, I'm not saying the OnePlus is not a great phone, but when you put that camera setup against the P40 Pro, the P40 Pro is definitely a better one. I think the ecosystem that we have in the camera setup, as far as just using the telescopic lens, just the color science that they've been using with their cameras have been great, especially on the main sensors on the back. The front-facing cameras have had different experiences on them a little bit later on, and of course now they're finally starting to support 4K 60 frames per second, something that we've been missing on them. But if you compare the P40 Pro and what we've been able to achieve from that, even improvements over the P30 Pro, there's no question that they make some of the best photography cameras. So if you're going to use a camera and you own a P40 or a P40 Pro, or even a Mate 30 or Mate 30 Pro, you're not going to be disappointed. With the current situation going on, I hope there's at some point or another a resolution is basically reached, and they're able to basically go back to running or operating normally. But till that gets resolved, it's going to be kind of hard, and only certain markets. I know in Europe they're still pretty big. Middle East, they have some presence there as well as the Asian markets. So we'll have to see how things go. It's hard to tell, and it's hard to kind of forecast some of that. But we'll have to see how things go with that. But again, with that being said, thank you, Matt Tyler. Thank you, Aditya, Gary, Greg, of course, everybody else that's in the channel, Muhammad, Harvey, and of course, everybody else that got a chance to spend time with me. And of course, congratulations again to Lani for winning the device. Again, I'll let you guys know, or follow me on Twitter to let you guys know if anything does change and we don't have if she does not answer me within a day. And at that point, we'll be able to basically, we'll pick another winner by tomorrow, roughly about noon Pacific Standard Time. Thank you very much. Be safe. Stay great. Matt, again, happy birthday. Hope you had a great one. Looking forward to checking out your podcast tomorrow in the afternoon around 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and late in the evening in the UK. It'll be Matt and Sam, and if I remember correctly, I think it was Tim Schofield from your Tech Simplified. Your Tech Simplified on YouTube. So it'll be another great guest. Last week they had El Jefe Reviews. You guys can check out their stream as well. But with that being said, thank you very much for everybody. Like and subscribe as usual. Share it with your friends. And I hope you had fun and we had a good time together hanging out. I'll see you guys next week on another episode of Saturday Morning with Tech. It will be episode 22. Have a good night. Well, good night, good day, and good morning. Oh, man. Yeah, definitely appreciate it, Gary. Stay safe, bro.